The Dwarf almost got a natural 20. Dwarf is an entire arm up the werewolf's. My face went that PNG. They killed the werewolf by poisoning. I love my players. Hey guys, Sky here. Oh no, I'm dying. Hey guys, Cobbles here. Not Cobbles, Cobbles with a T at the end. Anyway, welcome to another D&D memes video. How are you guys doing? Hope you're having a wonderful day today. Before jumping into the video, I wanna quickly kindly ask you if you wanna smash the like button. It would mean a lot and I would really appreciate it. But with that being said, I really hope you enjoyed the video. Don't ask DM questions that you don't want to know the answer to. Be me, level 3 fighter with 19 AC. Be not me, DM and 3 other party members. Be ambushed by a cult, the cult outnumber you, but you still do good and defeat some of the cultists. New enemy joins the battle. New enemy is an Oathbreaker Paladin with 19 AC. Paladin hits me. Divine Smite. I go down, I lose a death save, and then I get healed. Somehow, we manage to kill most of the cultists and overpower the Paladin. The Paladin escapes. I asked the DM, wait, was that a Chaos Warrior? DM. Now it is. DM takes notes. My face went. Don't ask DM questions that you don't want to know the answer to, or you might give him ideas that you might regret later. Confessions. Confession thread. Hear ye, hear ye. It's Sunday again, so come clean with your sins. Have you entered the magical realm, or maybe got a tad bit too? Are you a killer GM, or did you let your players walk all over you? Confess and be forgiven. The GM who impulse spent money to get more books for my bookshelf. I spent $500 yesterday after payday for a book, pre-orders or print-on-demand books. That's not such a bad sin. I mean, at least it's books, you know, at least it's not dice. I'm joking, by the way, so you can put the pitchforks down. I often let my players go off the rails instead of keeping them on target. If a player has a character arc in his mind that I think is dumb, I don't engage it in any way at all, and don't make it happen. For example, the current paladin in my game is an edgy boy who keeps saying that he died on that field or river, crossroads, whatever, every time he's downed in combat. And has those edgy nightmares where he's evil and randomly has those outbursts of extreme anger. The player wants him to become a Death Knight closer to the end of the game. Not gonna happen. I was the one who left an upper decker in the game room's bathroom toilet. The deadbeat stoner who passed out every session got blamed like I hoped he would. I told my DM I couldn't make it anymore to a campaign that he invited me to. I actually stopped going because he let someone rip a bong in the middle of the game and did nothing about it. Is that so bad to do? I mean, it doesn't sound like... I actually want to play a game of 5th edition, like a full-on campaign from level 1 to 20. My group plays basically any other system that isn't D&D or its derivatives, but I've been jonesing for a good old-fashioned high fantasy kitchen sink kinda game. It's become something of an instinct for me to derail a campaign, not out of malice or anything, but because I find it fun when the DM has to run in deploys to keep up with the party instead of the other way around. I intentionally chose to overwork last week as an excuse to miss out on a gaming session, because the girlfriend of one of the players got seriously touchy-feely with me and I didn't have the nuts to tell her boyfriend about it, and by now it would be an awkward he said she said situation that I know I would lose. Why the f do some guys feel the need to bring their girlfriends with them when it's still the season and My players already call me a Jigsaw GM for me running torture boss rush, as one of them eloquently had put it. There are the standard body horror and child killing. Well, there is no way of beating around the bush. I the player character. Not only that, I did it for 24 in-game hours, with torture, leaving them at 4 health. I introduced a new villain to my campaign, making him a giant sleazeball. The guy was playing poker for the memories of one NPC. The idea was that the guy finds a fiancé of one of the players, a jabbering mess, not remembering anything, and will have to play the villain for his memories, while he teases them with trivia from their backstories. Well, the players found him and immediately said no to any games, choosing to make a deal instead. The high charisma character, who plays a Twitch streamer, decided to offer healing of the bad knee that the villain had, but then the stakes were raised and she offered her body. Since I am a merciful god, I did the fade to black, but when we came back, well, it's a text game. So here is what the group found when the villain was done with her. Inside of the room, there stands a king-size bed, all messed up and splattered with blood. There is no light because the wires of the table lamps were ripped out to create makeshift bounds for the girl on the bed. Wrapped tight around her wrists, cutting in, breaking skin and covered in dried up blood, they shed dark brown flakes. The girl is in a half-sitting position, her clothing ripped and body bruised, barely breathing. She is missing some fingernails and her lips are swollen. Her eyes are covered with a ripped pillowcase and her legs bound apart with more cords. Nikki's breaths are ragged and wheezing, but does not move, even when the light coming from the door frame hits her face. The kicker is, they still have to heal his knee, or the girl dies, because the place they are in is run by a baroness of hell who consolidates and oversees all deals. I am going to be honest, this is not what I had in mind when I started recording this video. This is extremely up. There are a few more confessions that I hope aren't as bad. I quote-unquote accidentally added a 2 points of int to my last character during creation and the DM did not notice. I'm playing a warlock, I don't even need it. It just would have fit his backstory to be smart, since he found horrors beyond time and space during a scientific experiment. I'm in multiple games with 4+ GMs and I'm one of the said GMs in almost all of them. I never host events despite having ongoing plots. I never participate in events that aren't mindless fluff sessions or things I'm specifically asked to join. Each setting has been absolutely ruined to cater to me in specific. I've allowed myself to get dragged in degenerate behind the scenes type which kinda caused entire games to go up in smoke from the sheer amount of drama that it causes. I am literally the epitome of the killing all of these games. And yet, I still join every new one that pops up. That's a good confession. I only ever skimmed the rulebook at most. The only times I've read the rulebook in depth is when I've at least intended to GM the game at some point. As a player though, I often just learn as we play. You know, I really like that we had those, let's say, interesting stories, yeah? And then there's, I mean, confessions. And then there's this one, like 500 million times more tame and innocent. Jesus Christ, man. Anon has an interesting group. Pimi, DM for almost 10 years. Have a group of pretty good players that always play with me. Make a simple quest. Somehow, they take 14 in-game days to finish it. They find the demi-boss. It's a big bad werewolf. The warrior got a steel arrow tip earlier in the quest. The warrior gets close to the wolf. The warrior tries to shove the arrow tip into the werewolf's fail. Real life. Wait, that PNG. The dwarf asks for the arrow tip. The dwarf tries the same thing. Dices roll. The dwarf almost got a natural 20. Dwarf is an entire arm up the werewolf's. My face went that PNG. They killed the werewolf by poisoning. I love my players. Is that what the party that you love does? Huh. Well, I guess I had it all wrong all this time. Jesus Christ. Also, yeah, the arrow is probably not steel, it's probably silver, because, you know, otherwise this doesn't really make sense. But anyway, that is, yeah, let's move on. Can we have a normal story today? Can we have a normal green text for today, at least? Anon likes tomboys. That's not a good start, is it? Playing bullshit, complicated, inexplainable gish share in 3-point Pathfinder game. Made the mistake of playing in a game ran by my GF. Gets tied up in a mercenary company during a war with a long and complicated backstory, where basically the party ends up doing most of our work as part of said mercenary company with D&D miniature rules for mass combat. Now, I should probably explain something real quick. This game wasn't ERP, but player/NPC relationships were common and humor, like rolling fort saves to not too early, happened on occasion. Yes, it was that kind of group. Keeping watch with an NPC named Scarlet I had briefly interacted with a few times, mostly as a unit in mass combat encounters, where she was pretty kick and a generally good freedom sorkadin. Night comes around, and at the end of an uneventful watch, the DM says this. The red-headed woman wipes the sweat from her brow and jumps down from the tower before stripping her shirt off to get relief from the heat. She looks up to you and says, well, they should be replacing us in a second. You don't? I ain't sleeping tonight, and this has been a long day. Like I said, this was my GF, and she knew that I had a weakness for tomboys. Say yes because brain. I expect this to be a cut to black, which it mostly was in terms of description, but she has me start rolling fort saves to see how things go. Anyone who knows charisma gishes in 3.5, I had something stupid like plus 30 at level 8. Roll about 20 odd successful saves for a total of 5 hours, with a random stacking -1 showing up every so often, despite the DC also going up. Damn, wish you were actually that good. May have slipped out at some point. She describes me being exhausted come morning and tells me that I got 5 negative levels. What? The NPC tells me, don't worry, that should go away in a day or so. You're a tough guy. I gotta go work out before the others get up. Tomboy succubus. Still regret nothing. How the level 4 sorcerer took out a whole encounter. Be me, DM running a 5th edition game. Be not me, tiefling divine soul sorcerer, human blood hunter, and a half-elf shadow sorcerer with homebrew stuff. Party is camping out for the night on the way to a quest. Shadow sorcerer is keeping watch and gets warned by a mysterious raven that an enemy camp is approaching. Gets shot with an arrow soon after. The others wake up and see a goblin hiding in a bush. The blood hunter shoots it with a crossbow and kills it. Then a bugbear comes roaring out of the bushes, angered that it killed its friend. Divine Soul casts Burning Hands at 2nd level. My face when they crit, roll max damage and use the empowered spell. Destroy the bugbear and the band of goblins and monsters behind it. Divine Soul goes back to sleep. Nice. That was nice. The newbie in all of us. My vet player but relatively new GM started a new campaign. Partway into the campaign, he invites a friend of his who never touched a TTRPG. We were a group of vets and welcome him in open arms. In the first few sessions, his fighter did the following things. Thoroughly investigated chandeliers because the GM described the room was lit by a chandelier. Set up rock climbing gear to cross a room that had a hole in the floor from something heavy crashing into it years ago. Goes to every door and tries to lockpick it, including unlocked doors. Pokes every box, barrel or chest with a stick because he's heard of mimics. After one session, he asks if he's doing okay. The new guy felt like he wasted a lot of time. Cue each party member saying odd habits from their first time playing. My first character thought he could talk down every monster. My first character stole everything, including garbage, because he thought it could be valuable. My first character refused to use a single consumable item in case he needed it later. Then we all agreed that mimics were an issue and poking everything with a stick is a logical course of action for an adventurer. That is so cute, and I am so freaking glad that this ended with something wholesome. You cannot imagine how glad I am that this is wholesome after everything we've been through in the previous stories. Alright, on that note, that's gonna be it for this video, so thank you so much for watching. If you've made it this far, please consider leaving a like and subscribing for more if you haven't already. Also, thank you to everyone supporting the channel on Patreon, I really appreciate it, so thank you so much for the support given there. Links below if you wanna check that out, as well as links to the social media, Discord, subreddit, anything else. And yeah, that's it. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time. Have a great day. Bye.